What's going on, beautiful people? Peace and blessings upon all of you. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. It really means a lot to me. Now, as you can tell by the title, what's the title? Dealing with Stress and Negativity Part 2. I made a Part 2 because in the first video, I felt like it was more of a rant rather than me getting across some genuine things to you guys, which I did, and I hope that you guys resonated with it. But more importantly, I forgot to say two very important things which really help me, okay? And I thought that you guys would like it, so I made a part 2. It's not going to be as long as the first one, but it's definitely going to be just as heavy, potentially, inshallah. All right, so with that being said, welcome to part 2 of dealing with stress and negativity. Before we keep going, I want to thank you so much. I'm truly grateful for you taking the time to click on this video and spend time out of your life to watch this. I took the time to make it, and I really appreciate that you're taking the time to watch it. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, help your brother grow, and let's make stuff happen, all right? Bismillah, let's grow better together. Now, with all that being said, for this video, I don't think we're gonna stay in the studio. Let's go. Yeah, we're not staying in the studio. Let's go for a car ride, yeah? I like this. It's like we're going on a field trip. Field trip. No. Yes. No. No, you're not going. Come on. I'm the camera guy. Yes. No. We are now here in my car. I have parked on the side of the road. I'm pulled over and I brought my camera. It's propped up on my dashboard. I've got this is my monitor. This is how I film myself when I'm alone. So and I need to see what I'm looking at and I need to focus and whatnot. You get what I'm saying? So with that, we're here, we're pulled over. I'm not gonna tell you where I am yet. I'm not gonna tell you what we're doing here either, but we're gonna do the podcast from the car, okay? This is what I want to talk about real quick. Now, the first thing that I want to say, and don't worry, you'll know exactly where I am. You'll know exactly why I came out here in the last point. But the first point is real quick. Now, what I'm about to say, I don't want it to come off as harsh and heartless and, not just like completely douchey. I don't mean to do that, okay? But I preface what I'm about to say with that because I know and I completely relate with the fact that majority of the time when people say what I'm about to say, they do say it from a place of narrow-mindedness, of heartlessness, and I want to be very clear in what I'm about to say because I promise you that is not where I'm coming from. But the reason I'm mentioning this is because there is a massive truth to it, okay? That point is, when we're going through stuff, all right, when we're dealing with things, when we have negativity in this life, by the way, I'm sure you can tell by my voice, I'm far more collected in this video, in this podcast, alhamdulillah. I'm not as caught up in my feels as I was in the last one. I'm more composed, alhamdulillah, so this one will be less of a rant, inshallah. So when we're going through things in our life, when we're going through the stresses in our life, when we're faced with negativities, and whether that be from people or life events or things that we're just going through in general, right? And when we're faced with adversity, period. One thing that we absolutely cannot afford to do, and I am not free of this, I fall off the wagon as well, okay? The one thing that we absolutely cannot afford to do whilst we're going through these things is doing wrong by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to do right by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay? What do I mean by that? We still have to be conscious of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us, has commanded us to stay away from, and what He's commanded us to actually do. If we stay on top of this, right, to the best of our ability, obviously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. God knows what we're going through, okay? He knows what it is that we're going through in that moment. So you can be 100% sure, you can be positive that he not only knows what you're going through, that he knows what you're feeling. He knows what the condition of your heart and mind is. He knows how difficult, like the actual feeling, right, that you feel. He knows what that feels like. No human being on this planet can feel what you feel, right? We can try our best to be empathetic. We can try to be our best. We can try to feel and try to understand what the other person's going through. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God, he actually, to the point, to the very crux of it all, he knows and feels and understands everything that you are going through, the pain, the misery, the depression, the stress, the anxiety. He knows it, unlike anybody else ever will. And yes, you're going through it, right? And you probably can't even express yourself. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he were to, he can put your pain into words. He can put your pain into a visual. He can literally understand you and feel you and know you in a manner that you probably can't even do for yourself. So, with that being said, if we don't do right by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those things that we're going through in our life, those adversities and the people that we have to deal with, they become far more difficult. And you know what I mean. You know when you've had those spiritual highs where you're on top of your deen, right? When your iman is kicking, you know what I'm talking about. You feel like life is more manageable. It doesn't mean that you're no longer going through whatever it is that you're going through. It just because you're doing right by Allah, he makes it to where what you're going through becomes more manageable. It becomes slightly easier to deal with, not in and of itself, but consciously, psychologically, mentally, spiritually, all those things. It becomes easier to deal with, okay? So that is the first thing. I'm not saying that if you do right by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm praying, I'm fasting, I'm giving charity, etc., all the other commands that we need to do, which only benefit us, right? I'm not saying that if you do that, your depression is going to go away and your sadness is going to go away and you're just going to be a perfectly sane human being all of a sudden. There is some ounce of truth to that, but I'm not saying that. I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to look at you in your face and say, oh, you're depressed? Oh man, you're sad? Oh, you can't pray? Oh man, maybe you should pray. Oh man, you're going through this? Wow, that really sucks. I'm sorry. I'm not going to give you this. I'm not going to look at your stresses like that and then tell you, man, bro, sis, you need to go pray. You need to go pray. And if you pray, everything's going to be better. And the only people who know what I'm talking about are people who actually go through this, all right? I'm not saying, again, understand my words very clearly, please. It's very important. I'm not saying that salah is not the cure. I am saying if you do right by Allah, it's getting hot in here. Let me crack the windows down. Let me crack the window down because I'm just pulled over and I'm sitting in the shade, but we good, right? There's no traffic. All right. So, all right, with that being said, what I am saying is that if you do right by Allah and if you stay firm on that which pleases Him, then because you're doing that, He recognizes that. That is you displaying sabr through and patience, whatever it is through whatever it is that you're going through. He does make everything more manageable. He does help you. Not saying that He won't help you if you don't, but there's a different light. There's a different feeling of just airiness, like you're up in the clouds, like you're just like, God got me, God got me. Allah's got my back. There's a different peace that comes with your problems when you're doing right by Him. So that is the first thing, okay? That is the first point. Second thing is, before I tell you what the point is, let me display and paint a little picture for you, all right? The second point is this. Let's just say while I'm sitting here in my car right now, somebody knocks on my window and they're like, hey, you want some cocaine? I'm trying to get rid of this. I'm trying to sell it. You want some cocaine? I'm obviously going to be like, no, you can keep it. I'm good. I don't do that. That's an obvious, right? For me, at least it is. I don't know about you, but for me it is. All right. I don't know what you into. I don't know your life. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what you caught up in. I'm not going to get into that, but for me, at least, it is a solid no. Okay. And I'm going to firmly reject it and carry on my day. Similarly, the point of that is, right, when it comes to these physical acts that happen these physical events that happen in our life, right, if something comes at me where I'm like, no, right, if it goes against my values, if it goes against my morals, maybe I disagree with it, right, I will flat out say no, right? Similarly, when we're faced with those things, and again, before I say this, I'm going to preface this point with, the things that I'm saying, they're not necessarily to help you solve anything, but they're more so to shift your mindset, because I believe mindset is everything. And if you're able to resonate with even one thing that I say that helps you from part 1 and part 2 now, then I'm happy. Okay, the idea is to help you deal with things better, inshallah, God willing. All right. So similarly, like somebody offering me cocaine and me politely declining, there is this concept that I follow, and that is when somebody comes at me with this negativity, when somebody comes at me with, whether it's yelling at me, whether it's belittling me or putting me down, unmotivating me, trying to get me in this mindset or just this mood where I'm down and in a destructive rut, right? When someone comes at me with this, I try to practice the fact, and this is a fact, that I am in control. I am in control, and I decide, I choose, I make the conscious choice on what I let in and what I keep out. I decide, all right, in one ear, out the other. All right, because at the end of the day, you're listening to it. You have to listen to it. But the thing that I practice, the thing that I practice, and I try to do my level best and practice consciously in every moment of pessimism, right? From the attitudes that people come at me with. In my personal life, again, this isn't about social media. In my personal life, I try to make sure I'm practicing and making a conscious decision to let it in one ear, out the other. That's not me ignoring it. There's a big difference. That's not me ignoring it. That is me choosing on what I am going to give and focus my energy on. So, just like somebody who offers me cocaine or anything else that I disagree with or would disturb me, right? Just like I say no, mentally, I say no to whatever it is that comes at me and disturbs my peace. All right. So if somebody in my personal life is trying to upset me, put me down, I'm just trying to come up with scenarios that may be relatable to you, whether it's in your family, whether it's in your inner circle with your friends, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's when you're by yourself in your room, when you're alone with your thoughts, right? Whatever it is, you have to make the conscious decision to not let the energy of others or even at times yourself affect you. You decide. Look at it like this. If something amazing was to happen to me right now, right? If literally somebody knocked on my window as I'm sitting on this car, I'm like, hey, I was driving by and something told me to come and give you the stack of money. Right here is $10,000. I would obviously be ridiculously happy, right? I would be going crazy maybe. I would thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obviously, right? But also, I'd probably exaggerate the hell out of that good events that just took place in my life. That's what happens. If we are people who can treat negativity and treat those in our life who are just bringing us down and give them so much energy, give them so much attention and recognition when they come at us like that, to the point where we fall in a dump, where we don't want to operate anymore, where we shut down, then I can already tell you that we are also the kind of people that when something good happens in our life, we exaggerate it to the max. It makes us too happy. You get what I'm saying? What that means is we are literally behaving in life in a manner where it is nothing but extreme highs and extreme lows. So it's not just bad that we give energy to the negativity, but it also can be bad if we don't deal with things that happen in our life that are positive in a more grateful manner. The idea is to deal with things in a logical and rational manner. Like I said in the first part of this podcast, part 1, it's okay to feel. It's okay to have emotions. It's okay to feel. It's okay to, feel some type of way about something. But what it is not okay to do, and it is not okay to react. We have to understand. We have to recognize. We have to process. Okay? So that is tip number 2. Recognize the fact that you are in control. You're in control. You decide how you're going to deal with something. When somebody comes at you with some nonsense, what do? You decide how much energy you're going to give it. You actually decide how much it's going to affect you. Yeah, sure, it hurts. Sure, it may make you feel some type of way. But are you going to let that thing take over you? Is it really that worthy of it? Is it really that meaningful to you, to where you let that negativity and that stress and that disgustingness of others take over every other aspect of your life? You really gonna give it that much value? You get what I'm saying? So that's the second point. Every single time you are faced with something, I want you to breathe in, breathe out. Okay, breathe in and exhale, and I want you to have an inner conversation with yourself to where you get yourself in the correct mindset that I'm not gonna deal with this how I always deal with it. I'm gonna deal with it and with its given whatever. I'm going to deal with it with how it should be dealt with. It's not going to affect me. I'm not going to shut down because of this. I might feel some type of way about it, but what am I going to do? I'm going to smile in the face of whoever it is and whatever it is that's coming at me. You need to choose. You need to choose. This is a mindset that needs to be exercised. All right? Please do that for me. That's the second thing. First thing was do right by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't stop. If you want all the stuff in your life to be more manageable, do right by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He always has your back. He's always got you. All right? I tell myself that all the time. God's got me. Allah's got me. I tell myself that all the time. That's the first point. Second point is you choose on what it is. You choose on how much something is going to affect you, and you choose exactly what you let in, what you keep out, how much energy you give what. Okay? Remember, it's okay to feel. It's not okay to react. That is the second thing. All right? Tip number 3. And that is why. Tip number 3 is why I'm sitting here in the heat in my car. I brought you guys to look at this tree real quick that's next to me. And I'll tell you why. One day I was sitting in my car, just like this, but except I was sitting at home in my car. I had this habit, like I'll come home, I'll pull up in the driveway, and then I just sit there in the car for a good solid time. So one day I was sitting there because I was going through stuff. I was not too long ago. By the way, I'm still going through my stuff, but I want you to recognize how my behavior in this video is significantly different than the first part of this podcast. Okay? So I was sitting in my, I was sitting here, and I was looking at the tree in my driveway, and I was watching it blow in the wind, and I came to the conclusion that it's just some thoughts that went through my head. I was just like, I need to be like this tree. And that's what I chose to do from that day on forward. That I'm going to be like a tree. What do I mean by that? This tree that I'm standing next to, I came to this, I could have just shown you the tree in front of my house, but I came to this specific tree for a reason. And the reason that I came to this tree specifically, I'll tell you why. But let me make my point first. A tree, right, is deeply rooted in the earth. A tree blows in the wind, but it never moves. What do I mean by that? If wind blows towards this tree right now, the branches may move, right? the branches may be affected temporarily. All right, so if the wind blows, the branches will blow like this, right? And the moment the wind stops, or it's not enough to push the branches of that tree, what do those branches do? Boom, back to where they were. To me, a tree is a beautiful depiction and illustration of what I just said in the last point. The tree recognizes, the tree processes that wind. It understands that wind. It feels, right? It doesn't react. What would a reaction be? The reaction would be the tree's branches get blown in the wind, and boom, for some reason, somehow, the branches just stay in that position that the wind blew it into. That's not possible, okay? Unless Allah wants it to be. But what I'm saying is, when the wind isn't strong enough, those branches stop moving, and the tree is right back to where it was. So when the wind blows in your life, be like the tree. But tell me one thing that doesn't move, no matter how hard the wind blows, unless obviously we get into natural disasters or whatever, but we're not getting into that. That's besides my point, and that completely throws my point in the trash. So let's avoid hurricanes and tornadoes and all that. Let's avoid that, okay? The trunk of the tree never moves. You should never move. You should never, ever be moved to such an extent where you get uprooted. You should never be moved to such an extreme where you completely lose yourself, where you absolutely have no control over your emotions. And you may think you do. People who are dealing with things emotionally, majority of the time, think they're completely composed and know exactly what they're feeling and going through. And the decisions that they end up making, the decisions that we end up making in a time when we're not in control, where we're not rational and logical, no matter how much we think we're making the right decision, ends up being a wrong decision. So no matter what happens to you, no matter what it is that you're going through, please do me a favor and be like a tree. The trunk of the tree never moves. Sure, in that moment, my branches might blow. You know, in the wind, temporarily, I'll feel something. I'm not going to react. I'll feel something. But right, maybe a few seconds later, or however long I need to calm down and collect myself, I'm going to be right where I started, right where I was before that negativity and before that stress came into my life. I'm going to be like the tree, inshallah. It is very important. It is crucial for us to be like the tree. Because if we're not, then who are we? If we just sway, if we're controlled by our emotions and we just sway to everything that comes in our way, and we just sway to whatever wind blows in our direction, we will never, ever be stable. We will never be level-headed. We will never learn how to deal with that negativity. And I promise you, you will go through adversity after adversity until you learn your lesson. I'm not picking on you. I'm saying, like, in general, we will not stop going through whatever it is that we're going through till we learn our lessons. And a lot of the time, the lesson is how we're dealing with things. So with that being said, guys, let me recap real quick. Oh gosh. Sorry, that was it's like I'm talking to you guys and I'm just reminding myself, you know? So point number 1, do right by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you want everything in your life to be manageable, all right? Point number 2, you are in control. You decide and you choose what you let in and what you let out, all right? What you keep out, I mean. You decide what you give energy and how much energy you give it, how much value you give it, all right? How much control it has over you, or how much you let it affect you, all right? You make that decision, nobody else. And you need to own that. We need to own that, all right? That is point number 2. Tip number 3 is be like a tree. Be like a tree. Process and understand and recognize the wind that comes at you. Let your branches blow momentarily so that you understand what you're feeling. But right as soon as the wind is no longer strong enough to blow your branches, as soon as the wind stops blowing, what do? You go back right to where you were before it came at you. Firm, adamant, stable, strong, unmovable, just like the trunk of a tree. Because you're not rooted in the wind. You're not rooted in what blows at you. You're rooted in the earth. You're not dependent on the wind. You're not dependent, or the state of your mind is not dependent on what comes your way. The tree doesn't depend on the wind. It's just an obstacle. You're rooted in the earth, and the earth is solid. The earth keeps the tree firm. So you need to be firm in who you are. We need to be firm in who we are. We need to be firm in that which we believe in. We need to be firm in our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to be firm in what we know to be true, regardless of what others say to us. We need to be firm and sure of ourselves. That is what we're rooted in. We're rooted and we're firm in what we need to accomplish and what we're trying to get done in our lives. We are rooted and we are firm in making the most of this life and becoming as successful as we possibly can in this life and the next. That is what we're rooted in. That's what we're firmly planted in, not the wind. And with that being said, guys, I hope you guys liked this episode. I actually was not going to make this a 3rd episode. I was just going to upload the video to YouTube. But I was like, you know what? Let's not go at this and approach this in a basic manner. Let's go all out. So with that, I conclude the 3rd episode of Friday Feels. And now I'm going to tell you why I'm sitting in this car in front of this tree specifically. This tree specifically, I don't know how long ago it was. Must have been at least 6 years ago, minimum. I got into a car accident with this tree. I was going 65, almost 70 miles per hour, and I hit the tree head on. What happened was, I was daydreaming. I was literally daydreaming. I was stuck in my thoughts. I was going through stuff at that time, 6 years ago, and I was so out of it, guys. So out of it that I lost control of the car as I was driving. I was literally daydreaming. And the next thing I know, I'm on this turn. The tire slips off the road, all right? And the moment when I bring it back onto the road, my car starts swerving. And I realized that I'm not freaking out. SubhanAllah, I actually don't know why, but I wasn't freaking out. I clearly remember this. I was ready. I was like, all right, cool, what's about to happen? I couldn't control the car. I couldn't stop the car. I definitely didn't want the car to flip. So my 2 options were run it into one of the houses or run it into one of these trees. So I purposely chose to grab the steering wheel and direct the car into the tree. When I hit the tree trunk literally came in between my lap. Like, I was driving the minivan that day, and I hit the tree so hard and so fast that the tree came through the car and it was between my legs. It literally came right through the entire hood of the car, the engine, everything, and it was it was literally in my lap, in front of the steering wheel, between my legs. this tree holds significance to me because this tree, it's not even standing up straight. It's standing diagonal. But that tree did not move, bro. That tree took the car and it was like, yo, what's up? It just scratched me off. The car was done. Never used the car again. And I was in bed for a week. I wasn't in bed for a week. But for a week, I had this crazy pain inside my chest where I needed assistance to get up, to sit up. I couldn't move physically. It was like internal. But the point is, this tree, man, this tree, still standing. I hit it with the car, with the van. I hit it with the minivan, and it's just stood there. It was like, "What's up, dude?" I was like, "Subhanallah." The tree till this day is right here. It's like, "What's up?" And I drive by it all the time. I drive by it several times a month. And sorry if you heard that. I haven't eaten all day, and my stomach is growling. But that's why I came to this tree, because I hit it. And at that time in life, I was going through stuff. But what happened? The tree did not budge. It just took it. And I aim to be like this tree. I aspire to be like this tree. So yeah, that's why I'm sitting in front of this tree. We go way back, man. Me and this tree, we go back, son. So, and I wanted to introduce y'all to this tree. But anyways, guys, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I truly appreciate each and every single one of you. This will be the last episode where I'm by myself. It's just this topic was a very personal topic, and for that reason, I just spoke my heart out. Inshallah, next episode, stay tuned. We're going to have a guest. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet or what we're going to talk about. I have it planned, but I'm not going to tell you what yet. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. If you could do me one small favor, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And whatever platform it is that you're watching this on, subscribe to the podcast, please. And if you can, if it gives you the option, drop a rating. Give me them 5 stars. I don't know what it does for me, but I'm assuming it does something beneficial for the podcast. So drop me a rating, drop a review. And if you're watching this in the comment section on YouTube, just drop me some feedback. What did you like? What did you not like? What did you resonate with the most? What do you want me to change? What do you think I could do to be better? What do you think I could do to improve? Because I'm clearly new to this podcast game, but from the feedback that I've gotten, alhamdulillah, I'm doing decent. So I'm very happy and thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be enabling me and allowing me to do this. With that being said, like I say in all of my content, don't forget to... wait, before I say it, I have a new song coming out, guys. I'm releasing a song. So from 2 weeks from the upload of this podcast, I'll be releasing a new song. So tune into my social media for more information on that. Instagram, I'll be uploading it to YouTube, and it will be available on all streaming platforms. I'm not going to tell you what the song is. It's just a new song. All right. I haven't released a song in 2 years, and it's about time. So stay tuned for that as well. All right. With that being said, thank you so much for listening. And like I always say at the end of every episode, don't forget to smile and stay humble. Peace.